All right, so somebody sent me this video and said that Durianrider was talking about murdering animals in this or something along those lines. I have not seen this video. I have seen that this video exists. My hair is not doing too good today, so got the hood on. But let's see what happens here. I don't think I'm going to watch the full video. I think it's like an hour and a half long, but let's get started here.
Debate/discussion because Butcher Pete just can't get enough.
I love it.
He can't get enough of talking to people, talking to all of his heroes. So tonight we're going to have a debate between Mr. Durianrider. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your time. And also, you know, passing.
This dude's got a light show going on back there. Maybe I should do that.
Future guest Dan Prophet. We don't really need to do much more of that. But Paul, you want to introduce Mr. Ryder and we can get going.
Absolutely. Our great guest from down under, Mr. Durianrider. Durian is an ultra cyclist, vegan athlete, health and wellness advocate, and social media influencer. He has over 20 years providing clients results-based health and fitness consultation, and through his enormous online presence has debunked many wellness myths. Durian also has authored Durian's Lean Body Bible and Carb the Fuck Up Lifestyle Dietary Guide, which are both available on durianrider.com. Durian, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for the kind intro there, Paul. Thanks for that. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, he's good about that. He likes to kiss people's asses. He's a real piece of shit.
Yeah, some call professional courtesy. Some say professional.
This dude's got the banana right here. Wait, where's my mouse? Where did it go? He's got the banana. Is that bananas? It is. Oh, these dudes all got bananas. I mean, more than the fruit.
Don't trust him. Don't trust him.
But, you know,
don't trust him.
Ass kissing, we do that.
You got it's all good. Banter's all good. Compliments all good. It's all good.
Actually, that's one of the reasons why we wanted to talk to you, because you have a sense of humor. A lot of vegans don't have senses of humor.
They don't.
Not enough sugar, man.
Yeah, and we noticed that hard.
It's all the woo-woos, man. They can't handle anything. They can't handle it. They start cracking. They like dye their hair a different color or something. They just can't. It's crazy to watch.
We've noticed that hard. Like just quick back thing during we were trying to reach out to find, you know, a vegan to debate our resident butcher here, Dan, and it was very hard. Very snooty people on Reddit. So you were a godsend finding you. We did find somebody, and you know we did do a debate there, but it was a little stiffer.
Take it well.
Yeah,
he didn't take it well. Like the WWF wrestling promos and shit that we did. He didn't get what we were doing.
Yeah, some people's skin is so thin it's like cloud wrap. You know.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get thin skin on my delts, but mentally I've got very thick skin, so go hard. It's all good.
All right. Let me give Dan his introduction, just because, you know, Durian got one. Dan is a professionally trained and seasoned butcher and slaughterman who is the founder and chief operator of Butcher Pete's Mobile Meat LLC. Dan serves the Southern New Hampshire area agricultural circuit with butchering services and other consultation. Dan is an award-winning entrepreneur and is active in the farm and homesteading community in the Granite State. In addition, Dan is an extended member.
I suppose if you murder the thing yourself and everything, it's better than mass production, but I could never go back to that.
Member of the Zoobox family.
I'm going to get slaughtered for for saying that, but like, as much as I want to see the movement grow, I mean, not everybody's going to be on board.
I'm like a past and future guest, and regularly contributes to literature, film, and internet.
There's literally like 1,000 pieces of different cows in each burger, if you can call it that, at McDonald's. So I don't want to side with any of these guys because I don't want to get slaughtered in the comments. But I would rather see people, if they're going to do it, you know, I'd rather see it if just they, you know, have animals, and whenever the animal passes away, maybe that's when they just, you know, they use it. I think that's how they used to do it.
At subculture commentary on Zoobox, probably his deepest passion.
Yes, easily.
Yeah. So we're going to hang back. Paul and I are going to hang back. I'm going to be hanging out, checking in the chat, trying to aggregate questions and stuff like that. Paul's going to moderate a little bit just to make sure there's not too much talking over each other if that were to happen. But you guys are adults, and we're
all right. I was wondering why. Now I can't even see myself, so hopefully I don't do anything crazy. Let's get started again.
We're comfortable with letting you guys just have a conversation and kind of take whatever tact you want to take with it. All right, boys, the floor is yours.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, I just want to start off first of all by saying I want to kiss your ass a little more. Thank you for coming on our tiny little channel, less than 1,000 subs. Most people wouldn't fuck with a cloutless channel, and just come on to have a discussion and a debate. I've been watching your channel for a couple of years now. I'm a big fan of your comedy. I don't know if you realize that you have a comedy following. I could give a shit about the cyclist lifestyle stuff. I'm getting more and more interested in the fitness stuff and the nutrition stuff. But I really go there for your trolling and your clickbaity titles and shit. And you just
The comedy is huge. You know, if you don't have any kind of people laughing at your stuff, I think you get forgotten pretty quickly. Pretty quick.
Yeah, I got pulled in by all your good bits. But also because of my profession, I'm always interacting with vegans, most of the time in an extremely negative way. And on this podcast, we've been reacting to shit.
I think it's hard as somebody who's been vegan for 12 years now, 12 years. But my family's not, you know, so it's like, and I wasn't. So it's a fine line. It's a fine line that you play because you realize that, you know, when the student's ready, the teacher appears, you know, so not everybody's ready for the message. And I'm not saying that I would ever go back, but I'm just saying.
And we wanted to, instead of react to the people out there, the crazy characters that,
like, if you just go crazy on somebody, chances are the message isn't going to get across at all.
are on the internet, we wanted to have a dialogue and a discussion.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of questions because you do.
Any questions?
Yeah, you sell a lifestyle that's very particular, and you sell it in a very boxed way, like a very concise, succinct way. And I think you kind of leave out some very important things. I don't think you do it in bad faith. I think it's just that, like, you have a certain market to sell to. Yeah. But what I found interesting about you is that when I looked into the nutritional aspect of what you do, you really do know your shit, and you have a really unique perspective on how to approach nutrition. But I don't think it can work for everybody, and I don't think that you can scale it up so that the entire world does it. And
I don't know about that one. I mean, because if you just look at like, for example, years ago, what was this? 2017, I think it was. My dad and I took 50 pounds of potatoes. Now, he's not vegan, but he loves to grow, you know, he's got gardens everywhere. We took 50 pounds of potatoes and we turned it into over 500 pounds of potatoes by the end of the season. You couldn't do that on that little plot of land with animal. It's something like 1 pound of beef. It needs 1 acre. So it is more scalable. I mean, it's like 24,000 pounds or something like that of oranges for 1 acre. You could never do that with animal-based stuff.
I find your connection to the morality of veganism a little specious. I want to talk to that a little more because you're more of a fitness guy, a lifestyle guy. Sometimes when it comes to the morality thing, you don't talk about that as much and you kind of gloss over that stuff a little more. And that's my big thing. I kill shit for a living. Yeah. And I take that home with me every night. So the morality question plays into something that I do every day. And if you're selling a lifestyle,
I did too. I was a fish cutter, and it weighs on you. I think this guy's younger than me, and it doesn't matter, but I couldn't do it anymore.
7 billion people and saying, this is the way to do it. This is how to live. This is the bulletproof way. You should be able to back it up because there's a lot of cultures where eating meat is intertwined with what we do. And the craft of butchery, that goes back thousands of years.
Doesn't mean it's right. I mean, it doesn't mean it. I can't get into other cultures there was real crazy stuff because then I'll get censored, but it doesn't mean it's right.
Years. So to pull that away from the world.
These guys are pounding down the bananas here. Are they vegans in the back?
Not just be pulling jobs away. You'd be pulling human tradition out of human society in a weird way. even though that has to do with killing and shit.
None of them are ripe though. I mean, these guys might be in for a world of hurt.
So, but first of all, I want to speak to your diet because the nutrition is what you do, fitness is what you do, right? I'm a little suspicious of eating 4,000 to 5,000 calories of sugar a day.
Yeah.
For your normal average everyday, because you and I both know your average everyday Australian, your average everyday American is not fucking biking 10 to 20 to 30.
Got nothing to do with it.
30 kilometers, miles, fucking anything. They're getting from their air conditioned apartment to their car to the office back.
When I was 405 after the keto life, the only thing that I did to lose weight was I did couch to 5K for half an hour a day.
Home again to watch Netflix.
Correct.
So I think there's a war here between we have a banana counter going. I got half of one going. I'm already eating half of one. Theo didn't finish this before bed.
I got no bananas left.
Well, it's at you know, you
I mean freaking vegan licorice over here.
Yeah, and you had mentioned in one of your videos that you
now it makes sense to see the counter on the bottom.
Make one of the best banana smoothies in the world. So I'm gonna need you to make one for me, pack it in dry ice, and send it at a very high shipping rate to America so I can try it.
Yeah, Joe, we can do that.
So my question to you
any questions, man, you can push my buttons. You can don't be worried about offending me. I won't be offended.
When's he talking about murdering animals? That's why I'm here. But I mean, I'm gonna watch this. I know I'm not gonna watch this whole thing in one go. We'll see if I do a second part.
Like,
we're certainly not. We're certainly not.
You can push it hardcore. You can push. You know, I'll put myself out there. Anyone can push my buttons, man. Ask me any question, whatever.
Don't you think your average person can live a healthy life eating meat as long as they can manage to keep a perspective on their fat intake and how much?
No, because protein's way more toxic. Just look at how many more people are in the hospitals now that more people are eating meat.
Actual physical activity they fucking do in a day. I mean, is it possible for a human being to actually eat meat in a healthy way? And, you know, if we don't want to necessarily look as cut as you look or thin as you look, I mean,
it's not relevant. I mean, I know I'm answering his questions for him, but I have way more perspective than Durianrider. My kidneys and my liver shut down. I mean, there's no joke about that.
Sure, man.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not really a vegan, man. Like, I eat pussy most days of the week. You know, like,
well, I was interested about that.
In terms of animals, like other like meat. You know, like you said, we're talking like the animals. You know, the fish, the meat, the cows, etc. I think, yeah, you could eat a very small portion of meat and have fantastic.
Of course, you can eat a small portion. Look at it. I get so banged, you know, slapped on the wrist when I say Asian. So I'll say the Chinese used to eat like 3 or so ounces of meat, I think like a week, but that's just because of what they could afford. But even so, up until the meat craze that China's in right now, they really didn't eat much.
Fantastic health. You know, I think meat, it depends how much you eat. It depends where it comes from. If we're talking, not talking about ethics or environmental, we're talking purely on health. I think you can eat meat and still be incredibly healthy. Depends how much meat you eat.
100%. I'm not advocating for it. I don't need people clicking off and hating on me. But if you're eating a lot, it's very toxic stuff, and I don't advise it.
Eating, how much mercury is in it, or how much pesticides in the meat.
Oh man, especially with the fish.
So I think you don't have to be a vegan to be healthy. I would say.
I think it's ironic because Durianrider and McDougall both say that they're not vegan. And McDougall claims that he has meat like once a year or so. I forget what it was.
From a performance standpoint, then, you know, yeah, vegan's where it's at. Or it wouldn't say be vegan, because the average vegan diet's really, really bad. You know, the average vegan out there is really unhealthy.
I mean, Oreos are vegan, so yeah. I've seen some pretty unhealthy vegans out there.
They're doing low carb or not enough sugar, or they think fruit's bad, or dates are bad, or rice is bad, or I don't even promote a vegan diet anymore. I promote my protocol, which ironically is vegan, but it's my protocol. I don't tell people to go vegan. I tell people do my protocol, Because if you go vegan, you're pretty much going to have health issues if you're following the mainstream health advice from vegans today.
I'm really glad that you can come on and say that, because that's such a contention that I have with vegans. They go to veganism and they immediately take a place of the moral high ground as well as the healthful high ground. And, you know, you can get fucked up and fat off of vegan cupcakes all day.
Fat
as I would venture to say that the replacements in veganism are worse than what they're replacing.
And
fatty vegan foods.
yeah. And
Not that I'm saying to all of a sudden go eat a hamburger. You don't need it. Just don't eat it at all. Or make one of them bean ones.
that's one of the reasons why I was attracted to your philosophy, because you take a very laser sharp focus on like, what are we actually doing here? How is the body metabolizing these substances that we're putting in? And so many vegans just say, look, we cut out the meat, and it's almost like saying a prayer. You get rid of that moral aspect of it, and everything you do after that, you know, there's no calories after that. There's no sugar. There's no fat. There's no nothing. It's just good food, because we're making a good,
That's not true.
good, healthy choice.
That's not true at all. I mean, you can be real unhealthy and vegan.
And I really commend you for coming on and saying, look, a person can live.
I've proved this. I lost the weight. I added in some vegan products like, you know, Beyond and hummus and muffins that I was getting in Whole Foods. I ballooned up again. I've proven it 3 times. Oh, and the ruffled potato chips over at Trader Joe's. So, and the fake meatballs and stuff like that. That is, somebody got on me a couple videos ago about, well, you know, you've had to lose the weight 3 times now. Yeah. If you let the other stuff in too much, you're gonna balloon up.
Healthfully while eating a little bit of meat. Actually cuts up about 45 minutes of arguing, so I don't even know what half my notes here for.
In terms of a health debate, I mean, let's say I'm, you know, let's say I'm going through a dumpster dive here and there. Dumpster dives, and you sift through bins and you get stuff that could be reused, like dumpster dive food, dumpster dive bike parts. I mean, I don't need to, but I enjoy it. I hate things going to landfill. I just dumpster dive about $1,000 for the bike parts to send. But yeah, with food, like I go to the dumpster and I see like meat and I give it to my cats and stuff. So ethically,
I get that. I didn't do that for the baby, but I get it.
Economically, I could get that meat, cook it up and eat it. You know, but when I look at like cow meat or you know, a chicken burger or something, even though I used to eat like that back in the day, I just, you know, I'm just like, I see the animal, the chicken or the cow, and I'm like, no, I couldn't do that. So even if I could do it from a health perspective, eat a bit of meat here and there, it wouldn't do much for my
100% agree with him. I couldn't do it anymore.
health. It wouldn't benefit me.
If it was 3 years in, I don't think that would be the same statement. But, you know, 12 years in, I couldn't do it anymore.
Health wise. But then again, that's another, we're starting to change the topic there. But in terms of health, yeah, you could eat meat and still be very, 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 very healthy. It's a bit like I could smoke a
Depends on how much you're eating, man. You got to be careful there. I was eating a lot, though. I mean, I was lifting heavy and I was going through 30 to 40 pounds of animal stuff a week. But even so, even my buddies who didn't eat anywhere near what I did, but they also weren't the same size and they weren't lifting as much, a lot of them that were doing a lot of meat back in the day, they all have health issues. All of them.
one cigarette a day, and I could have a beer a day, a couple of beers a day, and still be really, really healthy. You know, does it mean smoking meat?
And they don't eat anywhere near what I eat. You know, they still stuck with that way of eating, and they all have health issues now. And we're all in our 40s.
Things healthy, or beer's healthy, or meat's healthy? In my opinion, no. But you know, you can definitely do things. I go to bed pretty late last couple of years. You know, like, is that I'm still kicking ass? But is that the best thing to do? No, it's not.
Yeah, and you've said in your videos many times, it's not about being perfect and bringing your body through this world in a perfect, pure way. You got to live life and experience, right? And in moderation, you know, things can be good.
All right. Well,
I guess it's context. There's context. And I think a lot of vegans lose context. A lot of non-vegans lose context. Context is really important in life. You know?
I had one more question for Harley before we move on. Okay, so I am going to challenge myself to live according to your ethics, almost, probably about 80%. I'm doing what I call the Arnold Schwarzenegger thing. He just said he did 80%. No, I'm not taking anabolic steroids. Stop thinking what you're
Go for it.
thinking, Harley. He just said that he went about 80% vegan, 20% carnist, or whatever you want to call it, low fat, and he lowered his cholesterol. I'm fat as fuck right now. I started a business 4 years ago, started my family 2 years ago. We got a toddler running around, another kid on the way, and man, it's hard to keep up. And, you end up going at fucking the Maccas. I love the Australian slang there, the Maccas. You end up going to McDonald's, you end up going to fucking, and I have packed on the pounds. So my goal is to lose 50 pounds the next year. And I'm going to start off in March by trying your philosophy, low fat,
low fat,
high carbs,
high
carbs, and, you know, not minding the sugar much. But the key component to your success is to burn and metabolize that sugar before it forms into fat, right?
No, sugar doesn't get stored as fat.
It doesn't store as fat. It just doesn't.
That's a big myth.
I mean, it can. It's such an expensive process for your body that it just doesn't bother.
Okay, explain that to me, because as I understand it and as medicine explains it,
the medicine funded by the meat industry.
If you don't metabolize that sugar, it gets stored through a process as fat in your body and hangs around.
No, that's that's a myth.
It can. I mean, but you know, it's kind of like water. Water is going to flow through the easiest possible manner that it can. It's not going to. Well, there is some that flow upstream, but by and large, it is going to flow wherever it can. The body just wants to flow wherever it can. If it doesn't have to waste that much energy to turn something into fat. Now, protein and fat, it will turn into carbs.
That's an absolute myth. You know, there's a thing called the Krebs cycle. All right, the Krebs cycle, where your body's just, you know. Here's the thing. I'll backtrack a bit. So, how many pounds? How many pounds are you at the moment, Dan?
I am 5'7". And I'm 223 pounds.
Damn. That's crazy. I'm 6 foot and 260, but I lifted for years. Or whatever I am right now.
So it's about 100 kilo. Yeah. So I'm more hypothetically, it's all hypothetical. My protocol, you know, 5'7", what's that? It's about how many centimeters is that? You'd probably be about 55 kilos. So you could probably lose about, hypothetically, not saying you have to, but you would, if we did a body swap, I would give you back in a year's time and you'd be about 45 kilos lighter. Let's say 40 kilos lighter at a minimum. You'd be 40 kilos lighter. And people would think, man, what happened to you? Did you get cancer? Have you got a 6-foot tapeworm? Are you living in Skid Row? Like, what's going on? You know, like, and it would be unlimited sugar. And it'd be like under 10 grams of fat a day. The body pees out excess sugar. The body burns it off through heat. The body doesn't want to store fat.
Or you jitter, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't want to store fat at all because extra weight is hard on the joints. Now, if we put ourselves in a famine situation and then we go and eat fat, well, actually anytime we eat fat, we store it as fat, you know. So if sugar gets the blame. Sugar's okay if you burn it off.
Your body literally has to do nothing to fat to store it. This is why McDougall said he can do a biopsy on you and he can tell you exactly what you eat because your body literally just plugs it into a fat store somewhere.
And I'm like, well, what about fat? You know, like, what about fat? Like, we don't talk about fat. It's like fat's the big elephant in the room and we're blaming sugar. Like, that the fat's what's making us fat. It's not excess calories. It's fat, man. Like, if I eat more fat, I store it. I store the fat. You know, if I go and eat, you know, 100.
That's exactly what happened to me. I got way too complacent and bam, fat again. Really overweight.
Grams of fat from vegan donuts, I'll store 100 grams of fat. If I do it every day for a week, that's 700 grams.
So for you, your limit is what, 10 grams of fat a day?
Oh, it depends how lean I want to be. You know, maybe I have about 20, 30 at the moment. You know, but if I wanted to lean out, then yeah, I'd go under 10 grams of fat a day.
Would you say that there is like a threshold that one goes over where it's like there's no, like, if you're doing a minimal amount of exercise, if you're running a couple of miles a day, if you're waking up and doing like a half hour of cardio, some push-ups, some pull-ups, some sit-ups, and just a minimal fucking regular dude amount of exercise, what would be the threshold? Like, how many grams of fat per day would be like I'm going over the cliff, I'm never going to make any progress if I go over this cliff?
Depends how much fat you got to lose. You know what I mean? It's like, it depends how much fat you got to lose. Like if someone's trying to lose 40 kilos of fat, my question is, why eat more than 10 grams of fat a day? We're just delaying the program.
You've already got enough fat as it is. I mean, it's already in storage. It's kind of like if you got an overflowing storage bin at one of these places that I keep saying going up everywhere, and you just try cramming more in. You know, like you just keep buying furniture, even though the thing's crammed with furniture. Why not just use the furniture you've got or get rid of it and then, then go from there?
Progress. Another thing as well, you can't out-exercise a fatty diet. I've known people who rode around Australia, cycled around Australia, it's about 10,000 miles, a bit under, and they came back fatter than when they left. I met a woman who walked.
I can see that. Because when I've done a lot of cycling, I've added in vegan cookies. I don't lose anything.
Around Australia, who was fatter when she pulled up into Sydney after a year or two, whatever it was. And I made up.
And people look at you and they're like, I don't even think you ride. I'm like, look at all these bikes. You see me out there. And then once I cut out the fat, man, it just started coming off like crazy. Like crazy. Now, of course, I've got this foot that I'm dealing with. I never know when I can ride.
Tip of the hat, riding around Australia, legendary. Walking around Australia, wow. And I was just like, damn, that's really interesting. This was like 10, 15 years ago. I was like, you think, if I walked around Australia, I'd be freaking, like on the low fat stuff. I mean, yeah, it's like you shred out, but not that I've got much fat to lose. But yeah, so the fat we eat, the fat we wear, you can't exercise a fatty diet. Carbohydrates are never stored as fat in a human body, in terms of like fatness, like getting fat, noticeably fat. And you can't eat, it's just, the sugar's just self-limiting. You're like, oh, you're gagging, like, oh, blah, blah. But fat has zero taste. So it just sneaks in. The fat we eat, the fat we wear, sugar gets the blame. And it's just like, there's no science that suggests obesity is caused by sugar at all. All the obese people I know love their fat. They love their fat. I couldn't do your diet, Harley. I couldn't. No. I love my meat.
It is. It's addicting. It really is. That's why I've lost weight and gained weight. It does get addicting. I got to remember this. This is why I started the channel. I didn't want to do this yo-yo again. Plus, my grandma actually died from the yo-yo. That's what they said anyway.
Love my bacon. I'm like, at least you're
that's the problem, and it actually goes with one of your core tenets is to live with passion. The unfortunate part is that that's defined differently for everybody. So for you to live with passion is to bike your fucking ass off.
No, for me it's sex.
Right. Well, for me it's lasagna. So
same here. That's why I was fat.
I'll have Natasha will make a low fat vegan lasagna.
You can.
Don't say that to me, Harley. Don't say those words. No, I mean, that's the truth, is that, like, for me, part of living life passionately is great food. And I do love
man. I am a freaking foodie. Like, right. That's why I'm strict. I'd be obese. I'd be a 600-pound person if I didn't get my protocols back in the day. Easily, man. Because KFC, man, I love that stuff. I would sit down and eat. I could eat a freaking 40-piece bucket.
There used to be a KFC. We were like the pilot for it, and it didn't take off. We used to have a KFC in one of the cities I grew up in, and it was the first one, I think the only one, that had a buffet. Talk about me getting fatter when I was in my teens. We used to I think it was like $7.95 too. All you can eat. They started kicking us out after like 3 hours, but it was crazy. That kind of stuff. I mean, yeah, just so overweight. It's not even funny. I mean, we used to ride our bikes up there because this was before we had cars, and we would just chow down, man. It used to be so good, but it was the sugary ones that I was always after. So I could have just had the sugar. They had this like honey barbecue fried chicken thing. Oh my, but it was the sugar. It was the sugar. I should have just had the suger.
At a KFC.
Yeah,
You
no
know,
shit.
If
Yeah.
that was vegan and it was low fat, I'd a 40 piece every day, because I love the taste of it. But I haven't had KFC chicken friggin' since 2000, 22 years. So occasionally I have the vegan KFC chips, but again, they're pretty greasy, so it's a few times a year.
Yeah.
So I find they trigger my asthma.
I
But,
assume chips is fries for those of us in America.
yeah, I'd be obese. I love food. Like people see how much I eat. They're like, oh man, like so much, like people. I have a pack of licorice here. It says there's 10 serves in here.
Don't eat too much, man. That one construction worker died from eating too much of that.
It's 10 serves. For me, this is one serve. This is a snack. And it's a full 260-gram bag, like 10. So the average person's like, just 10 serves. For me, it's like one serve. So that's how I'm a freaking binge eater, according to the experts. I binge at breakfast, I binge at lunch, I binge at dinner. I eat amounts of carbohydrate. People are like, what? Oh man, I don't use a spoon for my sugar. I pour it in my smoothie. I pour it on my fruit. I pour it on my cereal. I pour it on my rice. And that's what keeps me super lean. And training wise, I'm riding a freaking e-biker. I'm trying to get up to 90 kilos and I'm struggling, man. I'm struggling getting.
I could send him a sample of my hormone mixture, man. He would not have a hard time at all.
90 kilos. I'm like 81 at the moment. So that's what
I was riding on a trainer the other day. My legs got so big I couldn't even fit them in my shorts anymore. I don't know what the hell. This is why I lifted for so many years, man. I just got so big. I was so you just put weight in front of me, I could lift it. It was like a machine. They used to call me the animal, man. It was crazy.
Well, when I hear people think sugar's bad, I'm just like, oh man, like. So when I see people are scared of spiders, I'm like, oh man, we're scared of a mouse. I'm like, serious? Like,
but you do recommend that, like, if meat was part of your life, you would use it to get up to 90 kilos.
Oh, then that would definitely help for sure. If I quit vegan,
Of course, especially the fatty stuff. You might shut down your kidney and livers, but you got to the weight, right? You got where you wanted.
and just eating red meat and, for sure.
A lot of the reason people get overweight when they eat animals is because their toxic load is so high that the body starts storing it in fat. Otherwise you die. I think your blood has to be at like a 7.33 pH. Otherwise you're dead. So because and then it starts pulling your bone minerals and everything like that to neutralize the proteins that you're eating and the fats that you're eating. And all of a sudden, nothing functions correctly. So it starts storing it in fat, storing it in, other things. And like, oh, what happened? What happened? I can't, it's no different if you start eating protein and fats on a vegan diet, high fat and protein.
Milk, but I'll be fat.
Milk is even worse. It's the USDA allows something like 250,000 pus cells per cc of milk. I mean, that's just straight inflammation. That's like popping zits into a container and drinking it.
I want to be 90 kilos and still see some definition.
Right.
I could get 90. I get to 120 kilos as a vegan, just smashing the fat, just smashing the oil. Go to KFC and have their vegan fries, breakfast, lunch, dinner, Macca's fries full of oil. And I'd probably give myself a heart attack though from all the oil.
Yeah.
But I'd feel like crap. I'd give myself diabetes from all the fat.
You do. I was always slugging. I just, especially when I was eating that stuff, slugging. I mean, I literally bought cases back in the day before it was illegal of ECA stack. It was a Fedra caffeine and aspirin cases. We used to just buy it by the case. Those bottles, I think there was like 90 caps in a bottle, and it went to run out. And then when the FDA didn't like the fact that a Fedra worked better than anything that the FDA had approved. So, one person didn't drink any water and they ended up dying. So they're like, oh, well, everybody's going to die from this. And they banned it. So we bought a ton of the stuff, but eventually it ran out.
Because the fat blunts insulin. The fat blocks insulin receptor site. So I'll give myself diabetes, small extra fat. And I don't want that. And my dick wouldn't work as good. That would suck. So 90 kilos lean, versus 90 kilos not so lean. because I like to feel good, man. I'm very, very hedonistic. I am super hedonistic.
Yeah, rice. I tell you what, rice and bananas. Any like a lot of the white food. Yeah. Sex is much better.
Like my whole lifestyle is about hedonism, like feeling good, and I feel good helping other people feel good. And you know, I love eating food that makes me feel good, and I hate feeling stodgy after food. I'm so hedonistic, man. Full hedonism.
So what's interesting about this vegan butcher debate so far is that the health benefits has been a really different type of dynamic here. So you right out the gate are agreeing there's not really to disagree with in terms of the health benefits, that the average or typical vegan diet, as you put it earlier, Durian, is not healthy for you, and that's why you came up with your special blend or special craft.
Yeah, it's not, especially if you eat a lot of these. You know, when I went vegan, there was not a lot of this. I think, what was the name of the company? I forgot. Morning Star or something like that. It might have been Morning Star, which ironically is the name of the devil and Mother Mary. How that works, but yeah, that stuff was terrible, so I didn't eat it. So yeah, but now, I mean, wow.
Of vegan dietary.
Bulletproof veganism, I call it. Bulletproof vegan.
Bulletproof vegan, right?
Yeah.
So I guess kind of lead over to a different section. Try to keep the debate. So whether you go into see where you contrast with the morality, ethics of this as well. So I guess I'll kind of like frame this one here, but and then we'll go on with this, and then after that, see if there's anything in the chats. But so since you kind of deviate from the mainstream like veganism in terms of like diet, in terms of morality and ethics, do you take the mainstream version of why most people subscribe to veganism in general? Like, is a moral superior stance to be vegan and not have any non-dairy, non-meat products at all over another?
You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to turn this into like 3 parts, because I'm technically on the clock already as it is. So, yeah, I'm going to end this here. I don't even know what this dude's name is. Big Paul. I'll do that one, the next time. Maybe I'll do that on Thursday, because I'm starting to do a exclusive on my Patreon every Wednesday. And so I'm not going to make a bunch of videos because I got to make money. And yeah. So I'm going to leave it here. Any comments, questions down below? Again, I'm not saying to start eating meat again. I'm just saying that the vegan alternatives, by and large, aren't any better. But I don't suggest eating meat either. I would just bypass all of that stuff. Otherwise, you might need a bypass. Anyways, I'll talk to you in the next video.